Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. It's been a little bit since I posted a video. I did that when I came back from Japan, back here in the United States. And I said in my last video, which I'll put a link in the description below, that I was going to do a video about solo traveling, how to get started, some things you might want to consider. So every morning I come here to this park that I showed you in my last video, and I walk while the weather's good, get my exercise in. So it's a perfect opportunity to spend a little time with you and share some tips. If you're thinking about solo traveling, if you're thinking about getting started, maybe you haven't done it before, or you're a little apprehensive, or you're not sure what you need, I'm going to try to share some tips with you on some things that will help you to get started. So let's dig right into it. The first thing you're going to need is a passport, obviously. I know that seems kind of stupid for me to say that, but still, like I said, let's just bring it down to a real basic, simple level. The passport itself is going to have an issue date and an expiration date. You need to make sure that you have more than 6 months before your expiration date, before you leave to travel internationally. If you have 6 months or less left on your passport from the expiration date, you'll find the expiration date on your photo page, by the way. You're probably not going to get let into the country that you're going to. So that's the first thing you need to do, is check the expiration date on your passport. While you have your passport out, the next thing you need to do is you need to check to see how many blank pages you have. And if you're just getting started, you're probably going to have all of them blank, or a good many of them. So you need to have more than one blank page left in your passport. So those are some of the first tips. Like I said, basic. Do some research about the country you're going into. Go online, read, get onto some forums, social media platforms, even buy books. The good thing about books now is they're cheap, because a lot of information you can find online. So book prices are coming down, and a lot of the good travel books you can normally get a pull-out map with if you're old school and like a paper map. But anyway, so do some research. So once you've looked at your passport and you say, okay, I've got more than 6 months left of my expiration date, I got plenty of blank pages, I want to go to whatever country. Start doing your research and interacting with people that have been or that are there already, and ask what questions you might want to like. Find an area of that country you want to go to and start there. Maybe you don't know, but that's where the social media and the forums will come in handy at for you. So once you get your information and you know where you want to go, then booking your flights is going to be the next thing. This is something I use Google Flights for. Skyscanner is also a good one you can go to. But for me, I'm just comfortable with Google Flights. And it gives me all the options and stuff like that. So I'm a little picky about where I go for my flight information. So I like to book directly with the airline. And I'll tell you why. To book directly with the airlines, you're going to have a couple of options. The first option is going to be that you're going to have options about the seats you want to book. A lot of times if you go to these cheap third-party carriers, you're going to get a non-refundable ticket. You're going to be able to choose your seat, and just cheap fare is okay, but I like to sit in the aisle when I travel, so I like to choose my seat, and I like to also have refundable tickets. Now, back up a little bit. Something I didn't mention was travel insurance. This I highly recommend, and there's a lot of travel insurance companies out there. So what you might want to do is to start shopping that around too before you make your trip plans. Me, I like to get a annual policy that covers me globally. Currently I have Allianz, I think that's the way you pronounce it. And it's emergency medical. It's for repatriation if I have to be flown back to the States. Or worst case scenario, if something bad happens and I get killed or die or whatever, they can get my remains back. Global policies for me about $485 for a whole year, and it travels me anywhere on the globe that I will travel. So that might be something you want to look into as well. Highly recommend travel insurance. So once you've checked off your passport, done your research, know where you want to go, got your travel insurance, and you start shopping on Google Flights, Skyscanner, wherever you're going to shop for your information for flights. Then start looking into cheap airfare versus, like on those, there's a lot of third-party places out there that sells airfare, anything from Kite.com to Expedia to Agoda, but I don't really care for the third-party vendors, so I go directly to the airlines, and I can do that through Google Flights, because Google Flights will show me the cheap airfare third-party carriers, but they'll also show me the airlines. It'll say book with the airlines. I click that on, and then the airlines will show me the options. So for me, I've got it down, since I like to travel through Southeast Asia, is I'll travel into Tokyo, which is from the airport I fly out up in the Northeast. It's about a 12-hour direct flight. For me, that's long enough. Anything longer than 12 hours is starting to get a little bit too long. I now stay over in Japan for 3 or 4 days. I get my body acclimated to the time change. Try to get my sleep pattern going, and then I move on to whatever country I'm going into, which is usually Thailand. And then from Thailand, I'll go to Vietnam, Cambodia, places like that. So these are all steps that you can take that's going to help you consider maybe your first solo or your first trip, even if it's not solo. If you're going with somebody else, maybe you and a friend are going, or you're just retired and you got some workmates and you're going. I saw that a lot on my last trip to Southeast Asia. I saw a lot of folks that had retired, and they kind of got a little small group together of friends, and they went traveling. I ran into some people from here in my home state in Vietnam, actually, of all places. So once again, I like to be prepared. I like to pre-plan, and I like to do it a long time in advance. To get the best airfare, you're going to need to book about 4 months in advance. You can book longer than that in advance, but the longer you go, chances are there's going to be a lot of flight changes. The airlines will put flights out there, say leaving from JFK to Singapore, a year in advance. But after you book the ticket, there's a lot of times that far in advance they will change the flights, the flight times, the flight numbers, and you'll get these notification emails, and then you start getting a little confused. So to me, anything less than 4 months, you're not going to get the best price. Anything more than 4 months, you're going to get a good price, but you might have to deal with some changes. If you book through a third-party carrier and you decide, well, I want to make a change to my flight, well, here comes the fees with the third-party carrier, especially on non-refundable, non-changeable. Yes, they'll change it for you, but you're going to have to pay a change fee. And there may be a price upgrade. I can almost guarantee through a third-party vendor you're going to have a price increase when you make a change, plus the change fee. It can cost hundreds of dollars. So these are things that I'll probably would recommend that you consider when you're going to start looking at booking airfare. So that being said, consider booking a refundable ticket that's also changeable without penalty or with a small penalty, okay? Almost all of them are going to have the clause in there about if there's a fare increase, you're going to have to pay the difference. There's never a decrease. Airfare's going up all the time. Travel is increasing. People are traveling more, and so it's a supply and demand type issue. So these are all things to consider. The next thing I would probably want to talk about is packing and your carry-ons. The travel companies, or I say travel companies, airlines, they're strict about what you can take carry-on, Make sure that when you book your airline ticket that you can get at least one check bag included in your fare. That's what I do, and that they allow carry-on, which most of them do. And just make sure your carry-on fits the size requirements, so you don't have any problems there. Most of the time you can have one personal bag and one carry-on. So you can find some cheap fares that won't even allow a check bag unless you pay extra, and you will pay dearly for that extra check bag. So don't be fooled by, oh my God, look how cheap that ticket is, and when you really dig into it, what you're finding is it comes with basically nothing. So if you want to check a bag, that's an extra charge. If you want to pick your own seat, it's an extra charge. So be careful of that. Like I said, another reason why I go directly to the airlines as opposed to third-party flights. So once you picked your country, your destination, you've checked all the boxes, you might want to say, well, I don't like standing in line taking my shoes off at the airport. This is coming from a U.S. standpoint. You know, taking my belt off and all this stuff. You can look into TSA pre-check. That's something that will actually get you in a shorter line with less hoops to jump through once you sign up for that program. It's a federal program, and you can look into it on the TSA website, and it'll show you how to sign up for that. There is a cost involved, and it may take a few weeks to get that. So that being said, you might want to consider that. Now, you've packed, you've got your ticket, check on your passport meets all the requirements that I just talked about. You need to look at the country you're going to as far as a visa. Is it visa exempt? Like for the United States, there's a lot of countries we don't need a visa for that we can fly to. Japan is one of them. Thailand is another. But they will ask you for a pre-entry slip to be put in to the system at no charge, and it's normally about 3 days prior to arrival. And what that means is about 3 to 5 days before you get there, just go online to the website that tells you that, you know, here's like in Japan, it's called Visit Japan, the website. And you go in there and you fill out your name, passport number, arrival date, where you're arriving at, and stuff like that. Just kind of letting them know, hey, I'm coming, okay? Real easy to do. It'll generate a QR code. You save the QR code on your phone, and then when you're passing through immigration, once you get off the plane, going to collect your baggage, you just show them your passport, your QR code on your phone that says you've been to Visit Japan. If you're not good with online technology, or if you get to do it, you can do it at the airport. There's a paper you can fill out in lieu of the online, and some of them have kiosks. Like I just have been told that Thailand has it now, and they have the kiosks right there if you don't do it on your phone, that you can walk up to the kiosk before you go through immigration and put that in there. So know what the entry requirements are of the country that you want to go to. That's very important. They might require a visa, like Vietnam, for instance. Vietnam requires a visa, so I go on Vietnam's immigration website. I'll put in my information when I'm coming, my passport number. They'll ask me where I'm staying, and they ask for $25. Send the $25, fill out the application, and then in a few days, maybe a week, they'll send you a notification, hey, you've been approved based on your application for your visa. In Vietnam, it's 90 days for $25, 25 US dollars. So know the requirements of the country that you want to go into. Like I said, if you do miss something, or you skip something, or you overlook something, as far as visa, those are all things that are correctable at the airport, but it's just going to cost you some time. And normally most people are ready to get off the plane. It's been a long flight. You're ready to get your luggage, and you're ready to get a cab or something and go to your hotel. So hotels and transportation, that's another thing. You need to pre-book that as well. I use Agoda, but there are a lot of other booking platforms out there. Some people use Airbnb, which I started using that a little bit now. To me, Agoda's starting to get pricey as far as Thailand goes, because I spent a lot of time in Thailand. Thailand's prices are going up because their tourism is increasing. So once again, supply and demand. So sometimes you might want to look at other platforms. But what I like about Agoda is you can earn cash back And I booked so much with them my last trip. I'm still getting cash back now, you know, so I've earned enough cash back in the last year with them to pay for probably a couple of weeks of hotels. So you might want to consider Agoda. Booking.com. Agoda is owned by Booking.com. Their main office is out of Singapore. It's a good platform, but like I said, there are other platforms. Airbnb, VRBO, all of those are internationally as well. So once you've got your hotel reservations, and a lot of the countries that you have to do a visa or an entry program with are going to ask you where you stay in and what's the address and stuff like that, the name of the hotel, and you're going to have to put that information in their system when you're applying for a visa. So go ahead and get that booked, at least the first few nights anyway, so you have something. And once you get that, then you've got the information that they're going to need. So easy peasy, right? So the next thing that you're going to do is, after you book your hotel and you have your accommodations, is saying, hey, how am I going to get from the airport to my hotel? Well, that sounds like a stupid question, but really, it's not. Do you want to use the taxis when you get out of the airport? We all know the taxi mafia, especially in Thailand, are the only ones basically that can pick you up at the airport, because they have nudged everybody else out. You know, the Lyft drivers, which when I say Lyft, I'm talking about Bolt and Grab. You know, the taxis kind of got a mafia control when you fly into Thailand, of the bus stations and the airports and stuff like that. So if you do decide to get a taxi to your hotel, make sure you negotiate with the driver ahead. Are you going to use a meter? Which in countries like Japan, they all do. It's kind of on the up and up in Japan. You don't have to worry about that. I will tell you that taxis are very, very expensive in Japan. So I'm just going to sit down and take a rest for a minute. So you might want to consider other options other than taxis. Like I said, with Japan, they're going to have straight up with the meter, but it's very pricey. My taxi ride from Haneda in Japan to my hotel, which is about a 20-minute taxi ride, was about $70 US. Be a lot cheaper than that in places like Thailand and Vietnam, but you could get scammed. I've had drivers before, after they put you in the car and they take off, they'll get up to the highway and they'll get in a busy intersection and they'll stop and pull over the road and say, okay, you owe me more money now. I miscalculated how far your hotel was, or I need toll money, something that was not negotiated up front, and they've kind of got you in a bad spot because you're out in the middle of the highway. And they kind of hold you for ransom basically when it comes for that, because you're going to have to pay them or get out, and who wants to get out in the middle of a busy highway, right? So make your negotiations up front. What I found out is there's a service on Agoda that'll do an airport pickup. And you can do an airport pickup where they'll have a person standing there with your name on a sign as soon as you come out of baggage claim, once you clear immigration and all that. And countries like Vietnam and Thailand is very cheap. Japan, not so much. But once again, nothing's really that cheap in Japan, even though it's cheaper than it has been in the past. So once you get your hotel accommodations, you arrive at the airport, you know how you're going to get to your hotel: taxi, Grab, Bolt, InDrive, whatever the rideshare application is that you're using. You've got everything pretty much laid out on how you're going to get there, what you need to do to get through immigration, where your hotel is located. Save all this on your phone. I like to get, when I get my confirmation emails, I make a little folder like in my Google email, my Gmail, and I'll save it. So when the taxi driver asks me where to go, I'll pull it up in Google on my shared folder in my Gmail, and I'll either show them, or I will pull the address up on Google Maps and I'll hit the translate icon, and it'll speak in their language, ever what language I have chosen in the translate icon. Let's just say Thai language, and it'll speak to them in Thai, and it'll tell them the address that you're going to, and they'll put it in their GPS and go from there. So, you know, there is scams and stuff like that to be aware of, and I'll probably do another video on that pretty soon. But for now, I just kind of wanted to give you the basics. Your passport information, what you're going to need, the research on your country, the accommodations, the visa requirements, you know, entry requirements. These are all things that vary from country to country, and there's no one size fits all, even though a lot of them have the similar requirements. Depending on the country you're from, where you're traveling to, where you're traveling from, these are all different for most people in most countries. So solo traveling can be a daunting task, or it can be a very joyful task. Look at it as a challenge. Look at it as, hey, I got this. Will there be bumps in the road? Sure. But that's a learning experience. So the next time you go, you'll know a little bit more about what to do and what not to do. So I'll put some links down below in the description box to Agoda, you know, into some other booking platforms that might be, you know, something you're interested in. You can reach out to me in comments if you have any questions, concerns. I have traveled extensively. My last solo trip was 272 days. I'm currently back in the United States visiting with family, and pretty soon I will be embarking on my next solo journey, which I've already got the tickets booked. I'm stopping over in Japan, Yokohama, for 4 days, and then I'll go back over to Thailand. And from Thailand, you know, I'll bounce around from there based on what my decision is. You need to make sure that when you're booking your accommodations and you're going to solo travel, maybe you don't know what the next country you're going to go to, or what you're going to do next. Consider if there's a high season. If there is, you might want to book way in advance of that high season to get the best rate, to get availability, because if you wait till when you're there to start booking your accommodations and it's high season, you're not going to find many options, and what you do find is going to be very expensive. So pre-plan, book ahead, and do refundable fares, even though they cost a little bit more up front. You want to do that. Also, the travel insurance to help you. If something comes up, you get sick, or you can't travel, or you have an accident or whatever, even if you did have a non-refundable fare and you met the insurance criteria to be reimbursed for those expenses, that's a possibility as well. So don't travel without travel insurance is my recommendation. Book refundable fares if you can, and leave yourself open to change, because you may have to adapt, as the Marine Corps used to say, improvise, adapt, and overcome with some of your planning. But mostly everything will go as planned, or it did for me. So if you have any questions, concerns, comments, criticisms, whatever you have, put it down in the comments below, and I will address those and give you my interpretation of your questions or comments. Like I said, I will put links in the description box to Agoda and to some other things that I might suggest for you that you would find useful. Don't be afraid to get out there. Don't be afraid to try, even if you're like, okay, I'm in my mid-60s like me, and you just retired and you want to go, and maybe other people, friends or family or something, don't want to go with you. Don't let that stop you. Go. Do it. You know, life's short. Life is short. Do what makes you happy. Do what you can until you can't. Maybe some point we'll get to the aging process where we can't travel like that anymore. But once you've traveled and you get to that stage, you won't have any regrets. The worst thing you could do would be being old and can't travel and say, well, I wish I'd have done this, I wish I'd have done that. Do it now. Do it while you can. That's the best advice I can give you. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed our little chat. I decided to stop here for a minute in the picnic area of the park I'm walking in and wrap up this video for you. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Please subscribe. Very important. And reach out to me if you have questions or concerns. I don't know it all. I don't pretend to know it all. But I can just share with you my experience that I've been through and then the experience that I'm about to go through again. And for me, I'm going to do the 7-5 exchange. You know, at least 7 months abroad, 5 months back home visiting family. I still have an elderly mother that's alive, and come back to spend time with her and visit my family, my children, my grandchildren. So these are things that are important, and as that dynamic changes in the future, I might spend a longer time abroad and less time in the U.S. But right now, the 7-5, maybe the 8-4 split is what's going to work for me at this point. But anyway, questions, concerns, let me know. Put them in the comments down below. I'll send you some links in the description. I appreciate you joining me this morning. Thank you very much for that. Once again, please subscribe to my channel and share it. Greatly appreciate it. I'm trying to get this channel going, and I'll start posting a little bit more often, and we'll have some candid conversations about travel and some things you can think about. You know, maybe the next thing we'll do will be packing what to pack based on the country you're going to, how to pack. Maybe you don't need to take so much as you think you need and stuff like that, and why. So anyway, those are all ideas for an upcoming video. Appreciate the time you spent with me today, and I hope to be with you again soon. Take care. Peace out.